Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. Today's video is all about concealing and highlighting and a way to lift your face to give you a more youthful appearance. As we get older, some of the products that we can use are different than you can use in your 20s because your under eye is different, your skin is different, and you just have different concerns, and so you have to use different techniques to achieve the effect that you want. So if you would like to see my tips on how to conceal and highlight, then just keep watching. So let's go ahead and get started. I already put on my foundation, so I'm going to go ahead and prime underneath my eyes, and I'm using the Smashbox Photo Finish Hydrating Under Eye Primer. I just have a little sample of it. So I'm going to do some color correcting. I already did a whole video on color correcting, so in this video I'm not going to go in depth about color correcting. So right now I am using the MAC Studio Conceal and Correct Duo, and it's got a yellow end and a pink end. I've been using them both, but I think I like the pink end better. And I've been using the color correcting with this Japonesque 910 brush, and I've been liking this to keep my color correcting product exactly where I want it, where my dark circles are, instead of like going down in an upside down triangle with the color correcting product. I do that with the concealer, so I don't want to do that with the color corrector. I'm just trying to keep that on the dark circles. So I'm just going to use a little brush and put it right here where my eyes are dark, and a little bit on the inside where my eyes also get dark. And this helps like neutralize the dark circles. And this peach shade I find is more brightening than the yellow shade. I think that's why I like it better. Putting it on the back of my hand instead of putting it right on my face, just because I feel this method gives me the most precise application. Whereas when I was putting it on my face and then trying to, directly underneath my eyes. Why am I saying face with such emphasis? When I put it directly underneath my eyes with the little wand, and then blend it out with like a beauty blender, it just seems to get everywhere. And this is way more precise. I kind of run the excess over here. When you get older, the less product you can put underneath your eyes, the better, because the lines get accentuated with the more and more product that you put on. So now we're going to go in with the concealer, and I'm using a mix of drugstore and high-end products. So for the concealer I'm using the Dior Skin Star Concealer. So it's kind of like a peachy tan color. So I put this up here like directly on my under eye circles. So for concealing underneath your eyes with brightening, you want to use a concealer that is 1 to 2 shades lighter than your skin tone. So I'm using number 20 by Maybelline. This is the Fit Me, and I will mix that with number 25, just because 20 is a little bit light and 25 is like a little bit dark. So I just kind of like just put a little bit in there. So when you use concealer that is 1 to 2 shades lighter than your skin tone, it really brightens up your under eye, which really will help lift your face when your under eye is lighter. If you're using eyeshadow that's going to have fallout, then you want to do your concealer last or do your eyeshadow first, like before you do any of your other makeup, because when the eyeshadow falls down underneath your eyes from the fallout, it can make it look darker, and it's really hard to wipe it away, and then sometimes you think it's gone but it's really not, and it just puts a shadow underneath your eyes. I'm not using eyeshadow today that has like a lot of fallout or anything like that, so I'm not doing that. So on to highlighting. I'm going to put my highlighter on at the same time that I put the concealer on. It's good to use liquid and cream highlighters as you get older. Just the powder highlighters can sometimes accentuate the lines and just kind of sit on top of everything instead of kind of melting into the skin like the cream products do. So the cream products will give you a more youthful look and will also look less makeup-y, where the powders, sometimes you put them on and they just kind of sit on top of your skin. They don't blend into your skin, and so then it just accentuates your lines and everything, and the fact that you're older and we're not going for that. We're trying to look more youthful, so cream products are really good. So one that I really like is the Bare Minerals Stroke of Light. that, is from Ulta or Sephora. It's a little bit more pricey, but their products are more reasonable than some of the other brands. One from the drugstore that I like is the Magic Lumi from L'Oreal. This is really highlighting. Or you could just use the concealer. Like you could go in with the concealer, with a lighter concealer, and use that as a highlight. And so that works really nicely too. So I'm going to use this stroke of light, and I'm going to put it on the bridge of my nose and right here on my cupid's bow and here on my chin, just because you can do your chin down here, but my chin is bigger, so I don't like to do that. But if you don't have a chin that protrudes like mine does, then you can put the highlight, you know, further down. And then I'm going to put it on the top of my cheekbones here. And you also want to put it up on your forehead. But the way that I do that is I just put the excess onto my forehead because I have wrinkles on my forehead and I'm not trying to accentuate them with highlighting products. And then you can also, you can use your concealer for this. You can put some concealer down here, and this will help highlight this area, which will help contour your face. And then I'm just going to blend it out with my dampened beauty blender. If you haven't used a beauty blender before, you just run it underneath the water and squeeze it a bunch of times until it, you know, is a nice sponge. And then you just wring it out in like a towel so it's not like soaking wet. You have to be a little bit more careful when you blend out your nose concealer because you don't want it to go down the sides of your nose. And then I'll just put the excess up here. I have a square shaped face, so I don't take my concealer up all the way to my temple. But if you have a longer face and you kind of want to lift your face some, you can put your concealer all the way up here and it will have like a lifting effect. I just don't do that just because my face is square, and then I feel like it's just going to make it look even more, you know, square and wide. Blend it, you know, down and in this kind of upside down triangle shape. And then I also go on the inside of my eye with the excess. And I don't go on my eyelid. I primed my eyelid already with the Benefit Stay On Stripe. But if you don't have a problem, like a big problem with your eyeshadow moving throughout the day, concealer is a really good way to prime your eyes also. But if I already put the Benefit Stay On Stray on there, I don't like to put more product on top of it. I find it just like makes my eyelids all cakey. And then I'll use the other side of the beauty blender that I use to apply my foundation. I'm just going to go over the edge of the concealer just to make sure it's blended so there's not like a harsh line in between the concealer and the foundation. So, but before I set my makeup, I'm going to put another cream product just here on the top of my cheekbones, just so you guys can see kind of more of a highlighty effect. Because the stroke of light, if you look at it, it gives like a nice like daytime highlight. But for nighttime, if you wanted to highlight a little bit more, these Becca highlighters are great. I'm going to use the pink shade, which is Opal. It's kind of this like peachy shade. And I'll just put a little bit on the back of my hand, and then I'm going to dip my beauty blender into the product and just put it right here on the top of my cheekbone. If you have bigger pores as you get closer to your cheeks right here, you want to stay away from that, so just kind of keep it back here where, you know, the light would naturally hit your face. But hopefully you can see that that kind of gives it more of a highlight. Okay, so now we're going to set all the concealer and highlighting products, and there's two that I've been really liking lately. I really like this Laura Mercier brightening powder, and I really like this e.l.f. high definition under eye setting powder. These are very similar. This one just has a little bit of glitter in it, but I find when I put it on my face that I don't really notice any glitter. So we're going to set the concealer using this japonesque brush. My camera cut me off, so I was saying it's kind of like a morph between a regular brush and a duo fiber brush, but I've been really liking it lately, and I think it's because it controls the amount of powder that goes on your face, because when you're older, if you over powder, all that powder just accentuates all the fine lines. So you want to have the least amount of powder but still getting the coverage and the brightening effect that you want. So you want to make sure that your concealer is all blended out. So if you did like blend out highlighter and everything since you put concealer on, make sure it's all nice and blended. You can do the makeup face. I like to run this on my eyelids and inside my eye. Inside my eye, I don't know, right here. Right here where I'm doing it. I like to put it there too. And then I will put it down the bridge of my nose, being careful not to get it down the sides of my nose and a little up on my forehead where we put the excess. Cupid's bow and top of the cheekbones. So that's the finished product without any more makeup on. So I'm going to go do the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. So after you've put on all your makeup, if you still want to put a little bit more highlight on your face, if the cream product did not do it enough for you, then you can put a powder product on. This is fine unless you have wrinkles all through here. Then I wouldn't put powder on top of it, but my wrinkles have not migrated down here yet. They're staying up here nicely, so I do put powder highlight on top of my cream highlight. I do like to stay with highlighters that aren't quite so intense. And so I like this Hourglass Luminous Light one. It looks like this. And I like this fan brush from It Cosmetics. Put the fan brush in the product like this. And then I tap off the excess. And then I just gently fan it right here on top of my cheekbone. And I don't want to highlight my pores, so I just keep it right here. Then I'll also do the bridge of my nose with the powder. And you can do above your eyebrows. And you can do this with the cream product also, but I'll just put a little bit up there. But you can see it adds just like a little bit of glimmer right there on my cheekbones. So I really like that one. I think it's really pretty and it's a really nice finishing touch. So that is it for this video. I hope you learned a lot about concealing and highlighting and some different tips and tricks that you can try. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And all the information for all my social media, my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, all that good stuff is in the description box below, along with all the information for all the products I use is also in the description box. So be sure to check that out, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. This is the last step. You want to take a glossy, like a real shiny gloss, and put it right here and put it right in the middle.